Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel Testing Sobriety Mounjaro UK. My name is Claire and this is my week 13 update on taking the weight loss medication Mounjaro, and it's going to be a fairly short one. I think there's not too much to share with you. I won't be doing body measurements, I'm doing those monthly, and yeah, I just don't think there's too much to say really. I'm still taking 2.5 milligrams and I'm finding the appetite suppression is still really strong for me. Not as strong as it was last week. As I explained in my last video, I had a really exceptionally high appetite suppression, which was possibly down to user error. I'm not sure what I did, because I am taking my 2.5 milligram out of a bigger pen, so there is room for error there, so I don't recommend that, but I do it to save money. Obviously that is something that if you are thinking about doing that, please do your research and absolutely pay full attention to everything at the time and in advance. Make sure you know what you're doing, and yeah, be properly mindful when you are taking your injection. If you are doing it off the instructions, if you're not following it to the T, then please be careful. I think there has been a case of someone that took a massive overdose. I don't really know the details, but these things can happen. Sometimes people say that they're on 2.5 mil and they don't say milligrams. They are completely different measurements. Mils would be a massive overdose, because mils is your milliliters of liquid and your milligrams is the dose. So there's something to also be really careful about if you are in the comments talking about what you are on. Just in case you might leave a comment that says that you took 2.5 mil. Someone else, maybe they don't have the intellectual capacity, they just don't understand, or they're confused, and they might actually make a mistake that could be, you know, detrimental. So do be very careful of the difference between milligrams and milliliters. I don't think that's what I did. I know that's not what I did. However, I do think I somehow managed to take too much. I could be wrong. I might have just been more easily suppressed. Who knows? Anyhow, this week the suppression has been much more acceptable. It's how I like it. It's stopping me from overeating or wanting to overeat, but it is not stopping me from wanting to eat at all. So that is all good. In terms of any side effects, I don't think I have really many side effects. Potentially I do get some headaches, but that could also be down to something else I'm going to bring up in a second. I get the dry mouth and the thirst, and that's always been the case. Sometimes it's a lot worse than others. This time around it's very manageable. Yes, I do feel thirsty all the time, but it's not excessive. I just drink a lot and wee a lot, which is really annoying, but that is life. So yeah, side effects, I don't think there really are any, except I do think I have side effects from my diet. So that is what the focus of this video is going to be about. I think that I have some nutritional deficiency. I'm not sure whether it's going to be B12 or iron or something else, or it might not be a nutrition deficiency, but I'm just going to tell you what I've been going through. And this has now been going on more than a month, I'd say. I've mentioned it in the last two videos, more so in the, not the last one, but the one before. And I still have all of the issues that I mentioned. So I get headaches here and there, not loads and loads, but more than I would normally have. Probably like 3 in a week or something like that. But they've been quite bad. You know, in the week before last, I sort of ended up just sleeping all day because the headache was so bad, or on and off all day. I get this discoloration under my eye. It's pretty much permanent. You're not going to see it in this from this distance, but I'm going to insert a picture that I took in good light on my phone, so I will show you that. It's not horrendous, but that has been present now for, I don't know, 5 or 6 weeks. I have had this sort of tired look around my eyes, occasional fatigue, not really bad, but sometimes just feeling too weak, and that might be down to a build-up of not having enough calories as well, so there's that to bear in mind. A lightheadedness. The other day probably was the worst that I had it, where I had been crouching down. I was tending to a bee and I've been crouching down trying to get it to go onto a flower because it was in an inappropriate place, obviously not very well, so I didn't have much else I could do. I just sort of tried to get it on a flower, but I was crouching down for a couple of minutes patiently waiting for the bee to get onto the flower, and then when I stood up everything blanched, so the colour just was gone from everything. I could see everything but it all blanched of colour, so everything went white, and I had to sort of quickly grab my chair and sit down because I felt like there's a chance I'm gonna faint, and that is the worst that I've had it. But I do get this lightheadedness, especially from sitting to standing, that kind of thing. Ulcers in my mouth, so I mentioned them in the not the last video, the one before that. Basically they healed and then I got 2 more. I think one is back in exactly the same spot it was before. It feels like the same area and it's the same size and everything. That's the annoying one, that's the big one. It's healing now, and then I had a smaller one that healed quite quickly on my tongue. That's really annoying. Also, I have this general throat soreness, and I think I've got swollen glands here. If I press around here, it feels a bit bruised, so it feels a bit tender, particularly on the left side here. I think that's all the symptoms that I am getting that I believe might be nutrient deficiency. So I have contacted the doctor and I've got a blood test tomorrow. I will let you know how that goes. I did see an episode by The Downsized. If you don't follow The Downsized, then I highly suggest that you do. A wonderful couple over in the States, and they bring so much information and really great interviews with people. They have doctors, but they also have other people that have had great success on GLP-1s. And they talked about a study that's just come through on a group of people. It was quite a small group. I think it was 69. I don't know why I remember that number. A group of people, and they had to self-record what they were eating on I'm not sure which one it was, possibly Mounjaro, but they had to self-record what they were eating on their GLP-1s, and essentially almost all of them, if they were eating what they said they were eating, they would all be nutrient deficient in some way or another. So that's not a particularly great study, I guess, because there's no mention of any blood tests. I could be wrong, I haven't looked at the study myself, so I am paraphrasing and trying to remember what The Downsized said about the study, so please do your own research. But I think what it tells us is that when you're on a GLP-1, there's a high chance you are not getting enough nutrients. And so this is your reminder. I have been suffering from these symptoms and they're not too serious at this point. However, if I do have some kind of deficiency, and if I let it go on and on, there can be very serious repercussions for things like iron deficiency and B12 deficiency, and probably all the others. I know you can get really ill from vitamin C deficiency. I don't think I have that because I do eat a little bit of fruit and a little bit of salad and veg every day. Probably not enough, not as much as the government recommended, 5 a day probably, but still. I also get a decent amount of calcium. I have almond milk with my protein shake every day. I have milk in my coffee, and so I don't think it's going to be those. But if you are on a GLP-1, then I would, highly suggest that you monitor what you're eating and monitor for any symptoms, and get your blood test if you can, if you do have any issues. And yeah, I'll come back and let you know what the doctor says when my bloods come in. I'm kind of hoping it's something as simple as a deficiency, because if it's not, I don't know where I go. I don't know what to do then, because yeah, having ulcers and having this discoloration, I know that I have a problem somewhere, somehow. So hopefully it's a simple thing that could be corrected with supplements and adding, probably just need to add more meat into my diet maybe. Anywho, do you want a weight update? So I have nothing to tell you about my weight because nothing has changed since last week. I am still 150.4 pounds, which is exactly the same as last week. All my results on my Remfo app are exactly the same. There's no change in my muscle mass. I was really hoping to see some kind of increase in my muscle mass, even if the scale didn't go down, or even if it went up. I would have loved to have seen my muscle mass go up because I have been exercising more. Let's talk about now. So yeah, there's nothing to say about the weight. I'm totally fine with it. I suspect because I had a high calorie day, the very last day on Thursday was my last day of my week 13 jab, and I had a really good appetite, and I properly filled up on lots of different food because obviously I feel like I have a deficiency. I don't know where it is, so I ate quite a lot of different types of foods, really just to try and help myself out. So part of me thinks that the lack of weight loss could just be excess food still in my system. I don't know, but I don't care either. I'm perfectly happy. The weight loss can be as slow as it wants now. I'm totally fine with it. I feel great. Yeah, of course I want to get down a bit lower because I've decided I definitely want to get to a healthy BMI. At the moment I am 150.4 pounds, and to be a healthy BMI I need to lose about 5 pounds more. So that is absolutely fine. It can be as slow as it needs to be. I'm just going to concentrate on trying to get good nutrition in and exercise. So let's talk exercise now. I have increased my exercise. I decided to go on ChatGPT. I'm not really one of those people that are that into tech, but I decided to go on ChatGPT and get it to design me a plan. So I told it I was a beginner, I wanted to build muscle, I didn't have any special equipment except for wrist and ankle weights and a resistance band. So ChatGPT came up with this for me, which I've written on this. I've basically copied and pasted it onto a document and then chopped out the bits I didn't need. And I had this great idea that I'm going to follow. I asked for 3 or 4 days a week, so I've got an optional 4th day. So there's a full body workout for day 1, there's an upper body for day 2, a lower body for day 3, and an optional core conditioning. Now a lot of these exercises I didn't even know what they were. Resistant band chest press, I still haven't looked that one up. A resistance band rows, I have been doing those, and that is literally you just bend over and you pull the resistant band up from your feet. That one's quite easy, but there's some that are really hard. It wants me to do a plank for 30 seconds times 3. Planks are hard. I found that I can do them, but I find them very, very hard. And yeah, there's something called glute bridges, which involves you sort of like getting on your front and then shoving your bum in the air. So I'm a bit hot. Today is pretty warm, sun's out, I got the door open and I'm sweating, so sorry about that. Anyway, basically there's a lot of things here I don't even know what they are, so I printed all these out and I hold all these intentions of writing in, ticking off what I've done, and honestly I've taken on more than I can chew, bitten off more than I can chew. It's not sustainable for me. So my boyfriend's come up with a shorter, easier plan, which I've written on a post-it note. So I'm going to do these every day and then get better at doing more of these, and then I'm going to just try 1 or 2 from here and add them in as and when I can. And so I'm actually going to do them. Bicep dips, which is you stand behind a desk and you lower down, go up. I'm going to do 3 times 10 of those. Sit-ups, easy peasy, I'm going to do 20 times 3. Squats, easy peasy, 20 times 3. Push-ups, I'm not really good at doing them on the floor at the moment, even on my knees. I find that really hard. So I am sort of doing them against a wall or a desk. And then hopefully I'll qualify to do them from the floor in time. So that's going to be my daily goal, to get through those twice. So I've already done them today, you know, the 10 times 3 or the 20 times 3 I've already done today, and I'll do them again later. And then I will just add in a few extra bits. So my wrist and ankle weights, I've done some wrist weights with tins of soup as well, and I lay on the floor and do leg lifts with the weights on as well. They're absolutely fine. I guess, you know, when it gets hard, I struggle, and I find that then it becomes something that I don't necessarily do because it's too hard. So making it simple, making it a bit easier to start with, and then I'll add more in as time goes by. But I do feel like I have done more exercise, more weight-ish type of training. I don't like calling it doesn't feel like training, I mean but more weight type exercises this week. So I was really hoping to have gained some muscle mass, but alas, I have not. I had to move. I thought I was overheating, but the camera actually was, so it shut itself off, and we have moved into the lounge. I've got the blinds closed. This room is much cooler. So yeah, exercise wise, I'm slightly disappointed in myself for I haven't done cycling or swimming now for a couple of weeks. So I think that is going to be my goal. I've actually got 2 weeks off work starting from Monday. So I am going to put that on my to-do list of at least a bike ride and a swim in those 2 weeks. I don't think that's too much for me to manage. I do have quite a lot on certain days. I've got a few bits going on in my life at the moment. Nothing really major, but well, heart surgeries. We're talking about my dad, by the way. My dad went into A&E, when was it? A week and a half ago. He went into A&E. Now he doesn't live near me, so it's really difficult. But he went into A&E. He's had long-term heart problems, and long story short, he was in for about a week or just under, and they put a pacemaker in for him. And he feels much better. He's at home now, recovering, but he sounds really good. So I really need to go and see him. But my cat is also suffering. Well, actually, I don't know she's suffering, but poor little thing had to go in for tooth removal. All cats tend to end up needing teeth out. They do suffer from gum disease and bad teeth, and obviously you can't really clean a cat's teeth. I certainly could not clean my cat's teeth. She doesn't let you do anything to her, but she likes being brushed. But apart from that, she doesn't like you to do, there's no way she would let me brush her teeth. So she had 5 teeth extracted, but at the same time they spotted a problem with her lungs. So now she needs to be on antibiotics for, well, I have to go and pick up some more. So another 2 weeks from when I picked them up, but she's on antibiotics at the moment. And that obviously means I have to give her one every day, an antibiotic. I have to give my cat an antibiotic every day, which she doesn't take. The only way I can do it is crush it up and put it in her food. So I'm kind of stuck at home. I can't go and see my dad, which is really annoying, and just generally can't do anything. I can't. Usually when I get 2 weeks off, I do like, to do stuff like that involves maybe a night or two away, or even a little holiday. None of that is doable when you have to give your cat an antibiotic every day. And not to mention, the fucker drained my bank account. So yeah, not great. But all in all, I'm absolutely fine. These are things that came up and got fairly quickly resolved, thank God. So I got mildly stressed because the cat and dad sort of both came up at the same time. The teeth thing was planned, but the lung issue was not planned, and obviously Dad's admission to hospital was not planned, but the two things sort of coincided. So had a bit of stress around that, worrying about my dad and worrying about my cat. But now they are currently in control. The situation is in control, should I say, and I am all good, apart from just that general rundown feeling of the symptoms that I've told you about. So the plan going forward then for this week is, as I said, I'm going to get that exercise done, and I'm going to concentrate on nutrition. That's my main thing. I'm not worried about calorie counting at the moment. I'm not over. If I thought I was overeating or undereating, then I would definitely go and count my calories, but I don't think I am. If anything, I could be closer to undereating. So I'm not going to bother calorie counting at this point. I am still monitoring my protein. I've kind of relaxed on the protein a little bit because I wanted to vary up my food, and that meant adding a bit more carbs in, which just automatically kind of reduces the protein a little bit. But I'm still getting absolute bare minimum 70, but probably more like 80-ish grams of protein a day. I didn't mention I'm 5'4" and I'm 47 years old, and my starting weight was 168 pounds, which is about 11, 12, I think. 11 stone 12, yeah. So yeah, the main goal at the moment is nutrition and exercise, and then building some muscle if I can, and the weight will be what it will be. So that is it. If you like the video, please do give it a thumbs up. I really want to get to 1,000 subscribers. I'm just over 700 at the moment, and it would be great if you're not subscribed. I would really appreciate if you would hit the subscribe button, and you can stay tuned in to what I'm up to, what I'm learning along the way on my GLP-1 journey. And please do share in the comments how you're getting on. Where are you at? How many weeks or months or years have you been taking your medication, and what sort of results and side effects, etc. are you having? Thank you for watching. I'll catch you soon. Bye.